Welcome back to another episode of Girlfriends Without Benefits. Today,
Hello.
we are about to get married and weird.
I do. I do.
I do too.
Honestly, absolutely. 100%.
That would
No
be
question.
Kaylin's answer in a wedding ceremony. Absolutely. Why the hell?
Absolutely. Why not?
So, we are calling this episode Sister Wives, if you caught the title before you pressed play. And I'm going to let Jade kind of take it away from here and tell us what Sister Wives means to you.
Yeah. So I kind of mentioned this before, but back in my days of the cult, when I was staying at home with my kids and feeling this tremendous amount of pressure to be this perfect wife and perfect mother and perfect, church attendee. And there's a lot of things I thought I should be doing. And I was trying to do all of them. I was watching, which I shouldn't, I actually felt guilty about watching this show because it wasn't a show that was, cult approved. And it was one of the first reality shows back in the late 90s about sister wives, and this show that followed these Mormon like sister wives and how they broke up their kind of life and their duties. And I would watch it not with horror, but with great amount of jealousy and envy, because I kept thinking, if I had sister wives, my life would be so much easier and it would be complete. So I shared that with you all a while ago, and you were laughing. It actually is kind of even where our podcast title kind of started, right? Originated from.
You originally shared this with us in January. I mean, this was like from the beginning. This was info you shared, you gave to us.
Yeah. And as we alluded to in another podcast, we got to go away for a week together in Florida, and I kept getting these little glimpses of like, it's happening.
So just a quick disclaimer before we really get into it. If you are in your marriage and fantasizing about sister wives, you might want to reconsider your marriage.
That is a red flag.
Just a little disclaimer. But then I think from there,
which parts, Jade, I think it's important. Which parts of your marriage would you want to share?
Well, the problem was, of course, that I wouldn't have minded sharing the marriage bed. Like, I was like, please, like, have at it, like all you want. And in my current relationship, you better not get in that fucking bed unless I'm in it too. Like, don't come at my man. Like, we can do it together, but you are not going in there without me. Like,
so what I'm hearing is that there's different versions of sister wives.
Like, if you have a healthy relationship, don't get in there without me. If you have an unhealthy relationship, have at it.
That could also be opposite for some listeners.
Maybe. I want to hear from such listeners. I would like to hear a healthy relationship where you would be like, please let someone else, and I'm sure those exist. So anyway, yeah, sharing the marital duties of sex would have been very appealing to me. And then just the sheer responsibilities. Something in the show that they kept talking about is the women had different gifts and different desires. Like, one was like a very CEO corporate kind of woman, and they let her go and make the money. And then they took care of her kids, and one loved to cook and the other one loved to garden. And they split the duties up according to what they like to do. It's like, please, I just want to, I'll read the books to all the kids and I'll cuddle them and hold them, but please don't make me like XYZ. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. I wanted to share all of it. I wanted to share my life and not feel so lonely and like, yeah.
I think that place for you, though, you were not sourcing some of the emotional needs, obviously, from your marriage. And like actually being able to watch, an org chart of women who are all married to one man essentially, be able to share those responsibilities amongst each other. I think that was kind of the appealing part, if I'm not mistaken.
For sure. And being able to say my truth, like, I want to have a job. I don't want to just stay home with my kids all day, every day. That is not working for me. And then the guilt and the shame that came from me not wanting to do that, because in my current state, I was supposed to want that. That's all I was supposed to want. And I'm like, that's not what I want though. So yeah.
You had no voice to be able to
no
share
voice.
that.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
I think from my perspective, and then I'll have Kaylin jump in too. Postpartuming as sister wives is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
I got to do it last year, and then you got to do it most recently, Kaylin. And just to have someone else to hold a crying baby, or like let you go to the bathroom, or to, you know, let you take a shower. Like it's some of the like most miraculous. And like, yes, partners and husbands can do that, but there's, you know, man-to-man defense if you have 2 kids versus like, you know, we had whatever, I think 12 adults and 5 kids at this Airbnb.
Did you feel that, Kaylin? Did you feel supported by, like, you could ask for help? And did you feel like you had extra help?
Yeah, it's so weird because I feel like, well, for me, my personality is like, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I'll just do it. I'll just do it. Right. And so to be in a space with people that I'm comfortable with, like innately, I am comfortable with you two and the other people that were there with us. In the day or day and a half that, you know, my partner was gone, it was so nice to feel like I could say to Katie, can you please sleep in bed with me? So in the middle of the night, I have someone to help me. And to be able even to go to the airport and take, you know, my spouse and one of my children to the airport and not have to bring, you know, the newborn and know that he's taken care of and I don't have to worry about it. And even to like get back and not have to like immediately hold the baby and feed the baby and be able to like eat a meal. Like everyone was sitting watching a movie, just paint the picture when I got back. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm going to eat a meal without having to feed a child while eating a meal and take care of a child while eating a meal.
A meal that was already cooked and ready for you.
Exactly. I just made my plate and I sat down by myself at the table and just like it made myself a cocktail. Like it was so nice.
Yeah.
That was actually my favorite part, is the cooking.
Yeah, agreed.
Because like I do love cooking, but it still like feels like when you have kids and a family, it feels like a duty and a responsibility, even if you enjoy it at the height of it. Yeah. Like it's still like one more thing to do. And I feel like whenever we had to cook, which we cooked most of our meals there, it turned into like, okay, you prep this, I'll do this. This person's going to make rice. This person's going to do this. Oh, and we're going to have a dance party while doing it.
Exactly. And then like some people hate the cleaning up, you know, or some people hate the cooking. So they did all the cleaning up and some people didn't feel like they could cook. And so, I mean, and also like, to be honest, you need to back up and think about how many groups it would have been incredibly frustrating to be cooking with, because not everyone just recognizes just jump in when you can and take your responsibilities. Like we all did that without being asked or told. Like we just stepped in and did it.
I was in a trip last September actually, and we were in Hawaii, and it was interesting because that dynamic, there was I think 8 of us or 9 of us in the house, and it was just a very, very different dynamic about the cooking process and who can actually cook. And there were some people that you really didn't want to touch the stove due to worrying about the house going up in flames or salt content. So it was interesting that we're like, everything we made was really, really good. And like no one was, if they wanted to cook or if they wanted to jump in, no one was banned.
Yeah. Tom, and I love the grilling. Oh, Tom was the grill. And he did amazingly well. And not every guy can grill. I mean, they all think they can, but they can't.
This is true.
Correct. Yeah. So that was fun. And back to that dance party, like we would always turn up the music and have a drink and just like move around. My boob fell out once. Remember, Cass?
I do remember. I was like, Jade, areola. Go.
It actually fell out. I was like, damn, I gotta change my outfit before I bounce like that again.
See, Kaylin's boob was out with intention. Jade's boob was out just for fun.
Exactly. Yeah. So that part was fun. And a true dream come true for me. It's my bucket list. Sister wives.
I think also too, what we realized is as people went in and out of the house, the energy of the house changed. So I think that we had some valuable learnings in amongst that of like, when we do this next, and like, we're going to want support people and ancillary people and people from the team and et cetera there with us, but not necessarily in our sacred container. So like, I keep picturing this ripple of like, we have the center pod, and then we have like our next pod, and kind of expanding out as, and like having groups of people that we're like almost co-creating the same experience with in different houses that are not just ours. Because it's one thing to manage, 15 plus personalities, but when you start talking about 20 to 25 to 30, like, no,
that's a lot. And that's real. You can't just ignore someone's, if you're in the space with them and they're going to spend the night, you're in it. You can't just ignore each other. Like, the energy is palpable and it's there. So that was a good learning experience. That's a lot. They say 3's a crowd. How much is 15 to 18 people?
That's why we brought extra sage and Palo Santo and rose spray, and we had to clean the house a couple of times, both physically, mentally, energetically, spiritually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the one thing I did love about the Airbnb is there were so many bathrooms.
There were.
That was awesome.
More than enough bathrooms.
Yep. I also like that there was like nooks. So like, I really feel like that was very important of like, we could all go and do, and then also retreat back to, a sacred closet or like, your bedroom or something of that nature, like someplace to like go get quiet for a moment. Because I feel like open concept is wonderful, but like, if there's no place for you to hide and recharge or breathe or have a private chat with one or two of the other people in the house, it just would have been a very different kind of scenario.
Yeah, you have to create space for you to, when you're dealing with that many people, you have to create these spaces where you can take time away or it won't work.
Exactly.
So I feel like that was, huge.
Super valuable.
Absolutely. And I feel like we all kind of have that relationship, and that it's like, we won't take it personally if someone wants to create space or if someone needs to take a moment. It's like, okay, go. Like, please go. Take your time. It's fine. So
I wonder if there's a parallel to that happens in the sister wives dynamic too. Like, I feel like it has to be, especially with so many female personalities. Like, if you are, whatever, one man and 5 or 6 or 8 women, I don't know how many they get with, but like, there's got to be
get with.
Well, it's true. Like, I don't know. I really have no idea.
well, they have
I've
their
never
own
watched that show.
houses.
They do have their own houses?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Okay.
In
I
the
missed
one
this reality
show
show.
I was watching, they just had their own like bedrooms.
So much like the Airbnb. Interesting.
Yeah, like their own master bedroom.
That's
I don't know if I could do that.
They didn't have their own houses.
So like, what does Jade take Monday night, Kaylin take Tuesday, and I take Wednesday, and then
I don't know.
we draw straws for Thursday?
I could never share my husband. Like, I could sister wife all day long, but like, don't.
So we don't really actually want sister wives. What we want is a commune.
Correct.
Yeah.
We can all have our own spouses, but we can also join together to raise the children.
Amen. Amen.
It's like, we want to go back to that whole concept of a village where the kids would just know they could go to whomever, whatever door they wanted and get mothered, and you trusted that, and you had a big ass garden, and that's
correct.
No, I totally agree. And it's interesting. So like, I feel like there are certain people in my life that when I like have them and watch my kids, they parent very differently than I. And I feel like everyone in this house, Kaylin knows exactly where I'm going with this.
I do.
It's very similar. So there were some times when, Kaylin's husband had to yell at my daughter and I had to yell at their son. And it's just like, well, that's what happens. You want me to yell at you too? You did wrong and they caught you. So it's their responsibility.
You can parent my child. Absolutely. Yes.
So like, Hayden running from the house through the pool deck into the pool, like, friend.
With stitches in his face still.
Yeah. And Diana's telling, Anthony, he can't tell her what to do. Oh, yes, she can. Oh, yes, he can. So like, it's just, Exactly. So it's just stuff like that that I feel like you have to get the right circle. And
For
that kind
sure.
of one phrase that kind of comes back to my mind is like one bad apple spoils the whole bunch. Like when you do have something that goes awry or that could potentially spoil the energy, like it needs to be kind of addressed immediately.
Yeah.
Which I was just
Yeah.
reminded of that phrase the other day from a community I'm working on joining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Jack,
Yeah.
my son is older, so he's 14 and he was there and he told me, I didn't tell you guys this. Yeah, but he told me, he's like, I really appreciate how Diana and Hayden are being raised. They're very polite and respectful. And he doesn't really like little kid energy and didn't actually play. They kept asking him to play and he didn't play very often with them. But he liked them and appreciated that they were being parented well, which I completely agree with. By the way, you guys are doing such a good job. And your children they act like 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds, but they are polite and respectful and loving little souls. And so they're a delight to be around ultimately.
It's funny as you just
Jack.
Yeah, Diana loved Jack too. But it's funny as you just mentioned that too. I would love you for you to just talk a little bit about the chart because you were pairing your son's chart with all of ours, and how it manifested was like scary accurate about like, so just kind of run through a little bit of that too because I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, I just get on these little kicks where I start taking, one person and mixing their composite chart. So I was taking like Jack's one day because I wanted to see how he would relate to the different people in the house. And especially with the men, all the men that were in the house, I noticed how relational it was. There was a lot of friendship elements in his chart with Manjal, and there was a lot of like camaraderie elements in his chart with Tom. And you just watched it kind of through the week go through where he was wanting to have conversations with them and appreciating their feedback and inviting, it was great. And his one with you, Cass, is like, it's not fun. It's not for fun or friendship. It's like here to get shit done. Like if you guys are going to have a conversation, you were talking about how he needs to bring the hot and cold side of his energy, that whole thing, which by the way, I don't even know what you were talking about, but he totally remembers it. And he's been using it on me and like everyone. He's like, Cass taught me how to do this. So it's like, it's not like fun stuff. It's like, there's a spiritual quality in your chart when you see it with your chart with his. And yeah, it did all come to pass.
It was kind of cool though, because Jade was like, oh, and Tom and him will have great political conversations, and you hear them talking about politics, and then she's like, and Manjal and him will have great conversations about religion, and you'd be like, okay, I'm here for my daily like Hindu lesson.
Yes.
So, it was so cute.
It was
so cute, the two of them, and he was taking like very detailed notes, and oh my gosh, it was so sweet. And Manjal was just like so patient and so like so much joy to like share that information with him. So cute.
Yeah. So a commune. No more sister wives needed. Now we're just moving forward with the whole commune.
Exactly. And then we will be in the center of the commune and we'll start building outwards. So
there you go.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, if you're not watching the YouTube video, as Jade just said, commune, a ray of light hit her face beautifully.
I saw that. Commune, and all of a sudden it's like, oh.
And I think with that being said and shined, we will hang up this episode.